Hello again. Welcome to another episode of the Poncho's Paint Booth. Which, real quick, if you're watching this, obviously you're already on YouTube. So if you haven't already, go down and like and subscribe to Multi-Murdy Media. You'll get this playlist. You'll also get the Gutsy Ass Gamer, which is my video games and Twitch stream. And you'll get the video format of the Jankety Ass Podcast, which is my podcast that I did with my buddy Tom. Maybe we might have more people by the time this comes out. I don't know. I'm doing this, way ahead of time. But you get the Jankety Ass Podcast. You get that, so you can go see it. Or if you want to listen to that, the podcast is on pretty much every major podcast platform and a bunch in between. Also, go and check out Multi-Murdy Media on Instagram and Facebook to get updates for, the shows as they come out, usually within like a day or two. I'll put up something. And last but not least, if you go down to the links, you'll also find a couple of Amazon wish lists that I put up. One is the Warhammer wish list, which is a bunch of models. So that directly supports this show. If you want to, go on there and, buy me some models, they'll eventually get featured here. And I'll give you a shout out, whoever you are, if you want, unless you want to stay anonymous or whatever. And there's also a music wish list, which directly supports the podcast. Same deal. All right. So for this week, we got a pretty easy model. This time we're doing up the Canoptek Plasmacyte. Very simple, as you can see. It's just a little guy. And what this thing does is it follows around. I'll go ahead and come down. Come down to a workspace. But basically what this thing does is it's a Necrons model. And this was part of the Scorpec Destroyers squad that came with the Indomitus box set that was released with the advent of 9th edition 40K. And the idea is this thing basically just kind of follows that squad around, and every turn I have the option to kind of have them like zap them, and it can increase, it'll make them, more dangerous in close combat, but I could potentially like kill off one of my own guys, which is expensive, but I'm, whatever. I haven't actually had the chance to use that yet in game. But anyways, so this thing is a Canoptek model, which means for the most part, it's going to be, simple colors. And so what I'm going to do to start off with, I'll just go ahead and jump into the electric blue. And what this is going to be used for is I'm just going to dry brush over pretty much all this black, all these areas that are painted black. So that's going to be like the underbody and the face, and then these little spindly legs that it's floating on. So that'll be quick. And then what I'm going to do, I've got a couple things I'm going to do actually. I am going to, get in with white, and that's going to go over some of these areas that are going to have the glowing effects. So mainly like this big orb that's sitting in the middle of its body, and then of course it's got like one eyeball and then a floater thing here. And I might, I'm actually going to go ahead and apply it into the into the cracks on the tail here as well. That will, of course, be followed by our Hexwraith Glow. Gives us that nice green glowy color. And then the last thing that I will do... Oh, I should also note that there are a couple of like small little scarabs here on the base, so that's going to be a hit with the electric blue as well. But then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this building piece with dark sea gray. It's very similar to the field gray that I normally use, but this is it's a little bit lighter, and it's more it's closer to true gray than that is. So starting with, where's my stuff? The electric blue. Let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty. Yeah, so that's good for now. Got a little bit of a start on the base. We did up the main body and got that glow effect in, although I do realize that I neglected to do the tail section. I guess I was just going a little bit fast, but I could do that off camera or something and just show you guys later, because it would be a little much. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and let some of these elements dry before moving on. Alright, so as I did mention I was going to do, I went ahead and filled in the glowing effects on the tail of this little guy off camera, because, I mean, it was kind of tedious. You don't want to see that. Actually, you probably do if you're watching, but what I'm going to do now is we're going to address the mechanical parts, or the innards, I guess, kind of, sort of. And for that, as you already know, we're going to be using the rough iron. And so what that's going to be is, it will be, so this inside ring around the central orb. So you can kind of see there's like a distinction between like the body, and then there's like this kind of a ring in there. So that's going to be this. And then this pincer coming out over the head, the neck, and of course the tail. And there's a couple other sections like these little plugs, and then of course all this stuff in between the shoulder blades. And speaking of the shoulder blades, those are going to be the parts. This is going to be the part that more resonates with the quote-unquote living, the cyborg models of the Necrons, or the ones with actual sentience. And so the shoulder pads are going to be, we're going to use a radium color, and that's just going to be all this along the top there. And then when we're done with that, I'll go ahead and also hit the innards again with something. With our Agrax Earthshade to give it some little bit of extra detail and volume. So, starting off with the rough iron, let's get into this. Okay, I think that's good enough for those parts. I didn't really put the Earthshade on the tail so much, just because I don't want it to filter into the glow areas and mess those up. But I will do one more thing. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and add field gray to the base of the model here. What was I doing? I was trying this thing off. Just to kind of get that portion started and sort of round off this segment at least. Let's get some field gray out. Shouldn't take much, and we'll just go ahead and hit everything, including the dirt around the building chunk on the base here. So nice and quick. Maybe not that quick, but it's all good. And of course, as always, this will provide the base layer for the dirt texture, and later on the snow that we're going to add onto this thing to make it fit in with all my other Necrons. Since this is one of my armies that I keep and actually use. There we go. So, as always, we're going to let the wash dry and the radium dry as well, and well, the base dry. Well, we're going to let everything dry for now, and we'll, son of a bitch, we'll come back in a second. Alright, let's keep going with this guy, huh? So, what I'm going to do now is a couple things. So, first of all, with the internal mechanics, all the stuff that I did with the rough iron, we are, of course, going to go ahead and use True Copper to dry brush over those spots and, you know, pop out some of the highlights and such. Make it nice and beautiful. Let's see. Then on this this top plate that I did with the radium, gonna go in with Nuln Oil and hit like these little port exhaust vents or whatever they're called. And there's a couple dents in here. I'll hit that with the Nuln Oil. Get them to stand out, add some contrast in there. And then I'm gonna start doing a little bit with the base, but first, let's do the True Copper. Alright, so that's all we needed to do there. Hold on a second. Alright, I'm back. So, got a few minor details done. Get my brushes cleaned off here. So now I'm going to go ahead and start adding in some of the base actually, I just realized that I almost forgot something. So, let's see, I don't need this. We still have some of the wires to do. So that's going to be done with pure red, just like we did on everything previously, as you've already seen. Clean some of it. I had too much metal paint. Let me get my small brush. There's only a couple spots, fortunately. So let's get some of this going. Ideally, there we go. So let's see, I got two wires. There's one right here underneath this thing's chin. Yeah. Just do it up like so. Good enough. And then we get another one here that's running on the inside of the tail. A little bit bigger, but still won't take very long. So, and the other side. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to give both of these a once over with a little bit more paint, just so it's not or just so it is fully coated, more or less. There we go. Let me just clean up myself, and yeah, you can already kind of see here on the camera, but yeah, we did up those two little wires, and we got some detail picked out on the top, and a little bit of edging on the mechanical sections, so you can see it a little bit better. So now, what what we're going to do is we're going to start with the base. This one, since he's such a small model and he's kind of like a side thing, I'm not going to bother with the, I'm not going to like put any skulls or really do anything too fancy. It's just going to be this guy, the gray pumice, treat that, and then later add the snow. So let's go. I'm going to go ahead and, well, you've already seen how this stuff works, so you know, why hit you over the head with it? I'm just going to go ahead, get my video back up, and apply this. Okay, so that did not take as long as I thought it would. Because again, it's a small base. And we are going to go ahead and let this guy dry off for the time being. I'll add a wash and a little bit of a dry brush. Well, actually, yeah, I'm going to do that off camera. And that's also going to include this, whatchamacallit, building chunk, piece of ruins that he's kind of clinging to and floating over. So we will do that all when we come back. Alrighty, we almost got the base done for this guy. There's just a few small things left to do. So let's see, what did I do? Yeah, I went ahead and added in the black wash around the base to get some detail on the dirt and on the building thing that he's floating on, or ruins, I should say. So now, what we're going to do real quick is I'm going to go ahead and dry brush over all the base and the concrete with our ash gray. And then clean up the base, or the rim of the base real quick with matte black. So, let's do that. Alright, that's the last of the actual paint. So now, as you know, what we're going to do with all these Necrons is we're going to add some snow down on there. And I did leave us some room to do just that on this base. Here we go. So, let's see. Not even going to bother speeding this section up, because there's really only just a few small parts that are going to get snowed up. Well, maybe not that small. Just right there. Add some more on, because we don't want it to look like it was brush stroked at all, because then it wouldn't look realistic. Just kind of, let's get some more. Yeah, let's clump up on this side. Yeah, there we go. Nice and fluffy snow. Again, kind of hard to see with the ring light, or the camera light, I should say. But I promise you, it's legit. So we'll build some up on this side, kind of around the base of this old windowsill, I believe. So it looks like to me anyway. Let's see, I'm just going to push a little bit more down there. There we have it. The Canoptek Plasmacyte is 100% complete, ready to be attached to a squad of destroyers. eventually. For whatever good that'll do me later. Again, eventually. So, here we are. Our little Canoptek. Wow, that is way blown out. Let's see if it'll, let's see if it will, come on. Come on. Oh shit, here, let me try this. So I need to get a good shot for whenever I, there we go. Canoptek Plasmacyte in all its glory. Alright, that's good enough. Let's come back up to my beautiful face here. So, that was another episode of the Poncho's Paint Booth. Once again, as always, go down, like and subscribe to my channel, Multi-Murdy Media. Here you'll get, again, you'll get this playlist, the Poncho's Paint Booth. You also get the Gutsy Ass Gamer, which is my video game / Twitch stream. Right now I'm playing, well, maybe it'll change eventually. I won't say what I'm playing right now. You can see for yourself. Gutsy Ass Gamer. And of course, the video form of my podcast, the Jankety Ass Podcast. At the time of this filming, it's me and my buddy Tom talking about, whatever we want. Or if you just want to listen, we're on pretty much every major podcasting platform and a few in between. So check us out. And of course, last but not least, check out Multi-Murdy Media on Instagram and Facebook to get all the updates for all the shows as they come out. And for now, again, thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next one.